Good afternoon, and we are now looking at the next special award in the Concours Virtual. And this is a very special award. This is for the most technologically advanced car in the Concours. Joining us today is Paul Owen. Paul is a shareholder and director of British Racing Motors Limited. Most of you will probably better know that as BRM. As you can see in the background, there are a couple of the racing cars from the BRM history. So, Paul, before we get on and talk a little bit about the award itself, tell us about your involvement in BRM and how you're looking forward to the 20th anniversary of the mark.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, David. Good afternoon. Good to be here, and thank you for the invitation. Yep, BRM is quite a well-known story, and myself, I'm the grandson of Sir Alfred Owen, who was one of the original committee members and backers and supporters of Raymond Mays and Peter Burton in the early days. Don't want to dwell too much on the history, but he bought out the whole team from the British Motor Racing Research Trust in 1952, because it was the only offer on the table that offered to pay off all the debts. And the history of the team is very well documented, particularly by Doug Nye in his fantastic anthologies of BRM. I guess myself, my brother, my cousin, and other family members are very conscious of that history and what was achieved by a team of something that was never more than 100 or so people, based in rural Lincolnshire, and 2020 being the 70th anniversary of the V16's first race, we felt we needed to honour and mark that. So we had various activities planned for 2020, but obviously the current climate has put paid to some of that. But very much want to continue that into 2021, and we see the sort of mark and the history of BRM as something that we hold on trust for the nation and for the people who made it happen, and we want to tell that story properly and authentically and introduce it to a wider audience, basically.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Paul. Now, actually, as you say, really, we'd have been seeing some BRMs out on track or at events. The saving grace, to a point, is that we have them in Concours Virtual. We've got 3 BRMs. We've got the Rover BRM gas turbine car. We've got the V16 from the National Motor Museum, and we've got the Collier Collection Old Faithful, the Graham Hill Championship car. So it's very appropriate, really, that you've decided to do this special award as well. We're very pleased about that. And I guess with no further ado, really, do you want to give us a quick rundown of your thoughts on the contenders initially for the award, and then we'll end up with the one you chose for first place?
Yeah, sure. And I think one of the reasons this was an award we were very keen to work with you on and to sponsor was going through the history of BRM. I think some of the technological advances that BRM made over the years were quite fantastic, and obviously it would be inappropriate for us to vote for any of our own cars, so we haven't done that. But just talking about some of the advances, obviously the V16 was a fiendishly complicated enterprise, some 30,000 individual components going to make up the car, and producing almost 600 horsepower back in 1950 was phenomenal. And then very proud to have been involved with the Rover BRM gas turbine car, and again to think that was well over 50 years ago that was circling and completing Le Mans. again, is a pretty decent achievement. And some of the other things that BRM introduced to Formula One, sponsorship and introducing Marlboro into Formula One. I guess a lot of work was done by Jackie Stewart and Louis Stanley on the medical facilities and the medical advances, and some of the other things we'll come on to in terms of talking about the cars we've selected. But after much deliberation and consideration, we narrowed it down to a top three. And I'm afraid they've all got a racing or competition theme because that's what we know, but also because racing and competition really does lead to significant technical advances in industry, and I think it's very important to recognise that. Yeah, so the three cars we've chosen all were game changers, we felt, in terms of having a real effect on the future of the sport and the way things were done after they were introduced and after they competed. So the short list of three is the Audi Quattro Sport from 1980, I think it was, David, is that correct? Which and it's phenomenal to think that the Quattro is now 40 years old. Absolutely amazing to think it was that long ago. I remember it as being a car that I hankered after in my childhood. And then we chose the Porsche 917, the Le Mans car. And difficult to choose between the two that were in the Concours, but decided that we better go with the one that actually won the race, and so it's the Salzburg car that we went for, and then last but by no means least the Lotus 79, Mario Andretti's 78 championship winning car.
Yeah, so in first place for your special prize for most technologically advanced was the 1978 Lotus 79 JPS colours. So a really evocative car, isn't it, Paul?
Absolutely, and I think the ground effects and the pit telemetry are something that really resonated with us because reading through the archives and the history of things. Don't know whether many people know, but Peter Wright was actually a BRM employee in the 60s, and we've got an archive of some 25,000 engineering drawings of all the cars and all the things that were worked on. And in there is a wing car in 1968 that Peter Wright worked on. It's great that was ultimately taken forward and introduced in Andretti's car. And similarly, on the telemetry side of things, I was speaking with Rick Hall earlier this week and of Hall & Hall, and we were talking about telemetry, and he reminded me that back in even as early as 1964, Graham Hill took a BRM to a P261 to Snetterton, and it was rigged up with a whole load of telemetry equipment and streams of paper coming out the back of it, and the team were beginning to record and track data and use it to change things. Never got as far as using it in a race, but those were the kinds of innovative things that we were doing, and it's therefore great that we're able to be involved with this particular award. But yes, the Lotus 79 we think was the, out of all the cars in the concourse, the one that deserved this accolade because it was such a game changer.
That's fair. It's very hard to argue with that, actually. When you look at it, this is Lotus 79 Chassis 3, which is the car that Andretti drove. Mario Andretti got his first world championship in this car. It's ground effects, although there'd been the Lotus 78 the previous year that had done some work on ground effects, this is the one that really kind of perfected it. And in fact, when they went from the 78 to the 79, just the improvements they made increased the downforce by 30%. And it kind of caught them out. You know, it was putting a lot of strain on the chassis through that. And then, as Paul said, there's all the other bits and pieces that you don't often hear about. The fact that they were able to go into the pits and analyze the performance on a computer. This is 78. It's, you know, this was new thinking. Typical Lotus, really. This car is kept in the Classic Team Lotus collection, which is run by Clive Chapman, son of Colin Chapman, founder of Lotus. So it's got serious provenance, and we're very delighted to have it in the Concours itself, and to see it get a special prize. Very happy with that. So thank you very much, Paul. I will hand back to Jeff, and thanks everyone for watching this.
I think you've said it all. Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks for giving us an insight into BRM and BRM future. I think it's looking very exciting. Hopefully we'll be able to celebrate BRM 70th anniversary next year, when we'll all be out racing again. So thank you all very much, and a great prize. And we look forward to seeing some more special awards later in the day. Thank you.